Hello everyone and welcome to another video. So today in this video we are going to take a look at this CPU cooler, and this is the Frontech CPF 0005. Now the reason I got this cooler is to replace my 8-year-old Zebronics cooler which was running on a 775 socket Pentium dual core processor, and after 8 years of working this cooler just gave in. This fan stopped working, and sure enough you can see that one of the coil is discolored, so this fan is not of any use anymore. And during the span of 8 years I've cleaned this fan a couple of times and this worked flawlessly, so I think 8 years for a 500 rupees fan is decent. Now the problem with these types of fan is that once if something goes wrong you pretty much have to replace the whole contraption. You cannot just replace the fan, you have to remove the heat sink with it as well. So for what I was doing recently was about two and a half months ago, because my fan stopped working, I had this Intel fan laying around and I was able to somehow fit this on top of this fan like that, and I ran this fan on my computer for about 2.5 months, but every once in a while this fan would come loose, so I wanted to replace all of this with something substantial and that will work reliably. So I went on the internet and looked for some budget CPU cooler. Obviously my 15-16-year-old computer wouldn't need a very expensive fan, so I came across this one, and the reason I got this one is because this has a heat sink with a removable fan. So if something happens to this fan, you don't have to remove the complete heat sink from your processor, you only have to replace this fan. So this is the Frontech CPF 0005 and this is an RGB model. I was looking for a non-RGB version, but most of the fan CPU cooler today are only RGB. I don't like RGB lights on my computer because they do not provide any performance benefits. They take electricity. Anyways, this is how the box came in. You can see some of the specification for this. I paid about 559 rupees. That's close to $6 US. So these are the specification. You can see the product size. It has 2 copper pipes, 12-volt fan, and this is a 3-pin fan. My Zebronics fan was a 4-pin fan, as you can see. And these are the Intel sockets that it supports: 1150, 1151, 1155, all the way up to 1700. And in AMD it supports AM4 and AM5, AM2, AM2 plus. In my case, I will be running this fan on a 775 socket, and this is the reason I got this fan. So without any further delay, let's just open the box and take a look at what it how it looks from inside. So inside the box, you will get a small packet of fasteners that will attach to your motherboard, that will keep the plate secured onto your motherboard. This is the plate that will sit on top of the motherboard, to which you will attach your heatsink so that it doesn't go anywhere. And finally, inside we will get our cooler, and inside there you will also get a small packet of thermal paste. Not a lot, but this should work for our purposes. So that's pretty much what you get inside the box. And let's take a look at the cooler itself. So as you can see, this is the cooler. It comes with a 3-pin connector. On the front it says Frontech CPF 0005 S2S. And one thing I've been seeing a lot these days is that a lot of these fans are listing their fan as Hydramatic bearing. I don't know what that is. Anyways, as you can see, this comes with the 2 copper heat pipe. Here, these are your 2 clips which will mount on top of here. And the wire length that you get with this CPU fan is decent, a little more than half a feet long. Now if you measure this fan, I've got my tape measure here. As you can see, the fan is about 90 millimeter or 9 centimeters. And if you measure the thickness of just the heatsink, you can see the thickness of just the heat sinks is about 3 centimeters. So that's pretty much about the fan appearance. And the heatsink plate, which is a square, is a little more than 3 centimeter. We can say a little less than 4 centimeter. So there is that. So that's pretty much about the appearance of the fan. So let me show you how you will attach this fan on a computer. Now let me quickly show you how you install this fan. So first of all, we need to open this packet, and inside this packet you will get these multiple clips. Let me take all of them out. Right, now inside the packet you will get these 4 of these black insert and 4 of these motherboard latches. So these latches will inserted into this motherboard plate. So this motherboard plate will sit on top of your motherboard, and you will have to insert these white colored latchet inside this hole. Make sure you align all the holes properly and make sure you use the corners first. So you will see that each this plate has small notches, and your white insert will have these wings. So once you insert it there, you will see that these wings will fit in one of these grooves. So you have to make sure that you're using the correct one depending upon your motherboard. Maybe sometimes you have to come out a little, you have to go in a little depending upon your motherboard and how the holes line up on your motherboard. So the first thing that you will do, insert these latches in corners, then the other corners, then this part will go behind your motherboard, and this will open up a little bit, but this will not completely open. To open this up completely so that it stays there, you will have to insert this screw, this plastic insert, black colored insert. Once you insert it there, this will open up behind your motherboard, and because this has these grooves, this will not come out of your motherboard. This will secure your motherboard plate on top of your motherboard, and then you will take your CPU fan. You will put this on top of your CPU, and you will see that it has these hooks. This will hook down like that. This is the one side, and the same thing will happen with the other hook, which is here, which will hook onto the other side like that. So this is how we will install this fan on top of our motherboard. So let me just do that. Now we will press this white parts in. First we will do this corner, it's down, then this corner is down, then we can do the other corner. Now the plate is fixed, but to keep it absolutely secure, we need to use these black colored inserts so that the plate doesn't come off. So we will take one, insert it there. Now our motherboard plate is secured. Now we will take our CPU cooler. Now before you put this cooler on top, make sure that you remove this part. I'm not removing just yet, because first put your cooler on top of the CPU. Check for the current orientation. Maybe you want to install it this way, maybe you want to install it this way, or maybe you want the fan on the other side. So look for the correct orientation, and then we will install it. Alright guys, so as you can see, I've installed the fan. I've kept the fan on this side, so this will be pulling fresh air from this side and then blowing it towards the heatsink, and the hot air will be coming here, and then some of the hot air will rise up towards here. There will be a power supply, and that brings me to my second problem, which is here. So not only my fan stopped working, there was a little mouse that was roaming around in my house, and it chewed up the power supply cable, the power cable, and I couldn't figure out what was wrong with the power supply. So I kept messing around. There was as you can see, there was a little fuse blown here, so I replaced it with a single strand of copper wire. It does look a little fat, but all the strands are removed. Only a single copper wire is there. I plugged this in and it blew up my whole house circuit. So probably something is bigger wrong with the power supply. I don't know what the mouse did, but this power supply is completely toast, and that's why I'm waiting for my power supply to arrive. Once my power supply is here, then I'll show you how everything works. So let me just install the power supply. You guys don't have to wait for the power supply. You will see everything in this video, and then I will show you how the fan works and what is the current temperature of this processor. Now, the processor that I'm running on this socket is the Intel Pentium E2140. This was a dual core processor, very old, about 45 watt TDP, not a very powerful processor. Okay guys, so as you can see, my power supply arrived and I have plugged in the fan, and as you can see, it is spinning. The fan is working really well. It's very quiet, at least for my liking. If I touch the heatsink, it is absolutely not at all warm. So I think this fan will work for this CPU really well. If we take a look at the screen, you can see computer is working back to functioning again. If I show you the temperature, let's open hardware monitor. Alright guys, so as you can see, our open hardware is now opened. As you can see there, you can see our CPU temperature. So our temperature is reaching about 40 degrees Celsius, which is what I usually would get with the Zebronics fan. When I had the Zebronics fan installed on this computer, I would typically get 43, 44 on max usage. And the computer is running for more than 2 hours now, and we are stabilizing at 40 degrees Celsius, which is really nice. This is a simple dual core processor, Pentium dual core E2140, so not a very heavy processor, and I'm running Windows 7 still on this PC. So the fan was a success. So there we go guys. This was my video on this one of the cheapest CPU cooler. It can be installed on many different sockets. I hope you find this video helpful. Thanks for watching, and I will see you guys in my next video. Bye.